wanted to play riffs that people will remember for a long time. The first riff that made me want to learn guitar was probably, I had 3 older brothers, so I listened to a lot of 70s rock and stuff, and I think probably Stranglehold by Ted Nugent was the very first. I don't even know how that goes anymore. Yeah, I think that was the first, probably the first thing I ever learned. And then like early AC/DC, did a lot of that kind of stuff, and I was a big Bon Scott fan, so the Highway to Hell, I don't even know if I remember half of them, but I mean, for me, that band was so great because they had such hooky riffs that were easy to learn right away. So as a young player, you know, it was really cool to sort of latch onto these, you know, simplified riffs that were really hooky, and that really got me going on, you know, learning to play rock guitar, you know. Well, from there, from AC/DC, I joined a band when I was 15, and I wasn't very good, and I could play AC/DC songs and stuff. That was about it, and I hooked up with these guys that were a few years older than me, and they were into like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and all this difficult stuff, you know, like Phantom of the Opera and all that kind of stuff, you know. So I had to really work hard to get in with these guys. It was a bit horrifying, but yeah, it was awesome. Something, I don't know, it's been a long time. I don't play other people's music much anymore. See, I've been writing music so long, and it used to be a lot more, you know, not so song orientated, you know, a lot more riffy, the stuff I used to do. But all the early 3 Days stuff, you know, Animal and stuff like that, you know, was some of the first stuff. Well, like like Animals. That kind of thing, you know, all the early stuff. You know. You know, all this sort of thing. Try to write hooky riffs and stuff to that. You know, I never really took lessons growing up. I always surrounded myself with guys, musicians that were better. All my friends were kind of always a little older, and I tried to get in with musos that were better than me so I could learn my craft a lot better, you know, and so that was probably my teachings, you know. I never really learned how to read music and stuff. I did learn by ear, by listening to a lot of old classic stuff. And then again, by friends that were better than me, you know, was probably the best way to learn. Always, you know, play with people that are better than you. And that's how you're definitely going to improve. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of, I went through a period in my 20s where I was a huge Paul Gilbert fan. So, you know, it was very technical. Back then, though, I used to sit for 8 hours a day and just practice, you know, scales and string skipping and, you know, that kind of stuff repeatedly. And then I kind of got away from all that as much as I loved it, and you know, focusing on hooky riffs. I kind of spent, after that, I just kind of gave that up of trying, you know, there's so many awesome, great guitar players that I wanted to be able to write hooky, catchy riffs. Because again, being a fan of AC/DC and stuff, what's so memorable about that band is that they're so hooky. You remember AC/DC riffs forever, you know. So I wanted to go down that realm and play riffs that people will remember for a long time, you know. Yeah, I love Black Sabbath. Yeah, again, my brothers were huge 70s, you know, they all listen to 70s stuff, and I used to sneak in their room and listen to their albums. And I think the first Sabbath I heard was the song Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. And I remember putting that on, sneaking to my brother's room when he wasn't home, and putting that album on, and then the rain comes and the thunder, and then you know, the evil riff starts, you know, the... And then, believe it or not, when I wrote the riff for Riot, I kind of was thinking of the song Black Sabbath, that song. When I had the you know, it's kind of a similar sort of thing with the bridge of Black Sabbath, you know, when I did the... I was kind of thinking along that line of a Sabbathy kind of thing, you know, when I wrote that. Our new record is coming out, you know, sometime in the summer. We got a new single out now. We're playing now Mayday, you know, which is, you know, when we first got together and started writing last year, it was at my studio, at my place, and Mayday was one of the first songs we wrote in the first little batch when we started getting together, back with Adam being back and everything. And we're playing that one now in the show, but it's and that was one of the first riffs we wrote on this record. Right? You know, again, for me, it started with 70s classic rock. Like, I love Ritchie Blackmore. I love Sabbath. You know, I went on to Van Halen and stuff like that. But, you know, and then when the 90s happened, all that, the other guys in the band especially were influenced by that. So when we all hooked up, you know, there was a bit of a, you know, an amalgamation of classic kind of riffs with, you know, the bit of a grunge thing too, right? You know, the simplicity of the grunge ideas, you know.